Has all of the male physical characteristics, so would that not be a male then? Couldn't we plainly say this person is a male?
Well, I guess it's like, why are you asking the question? I think.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Here comes the sensitivity moment again. Oh, easily offended. Why are you asking the question, boy? Well, this is. Hello friends, welcome to Look and Live. You are now here with Pastor James Devallon, and this is another reaction video. Guess what I have for you tonight? Once again, we are continuing these interviews that we are reviewing from Daily Wire. What is a woman? Yeah, now Matt Walsh is going to have another interview with a professor, a college professor to be exact. Now, friends, brace yourself for this one. Let's now get into the heart of this message.
Are we?
I think so. I mean, I thought...
That's what you think.
Well, I should have known it would be hard to define reality in Hollywood. I should probably look to the place where truth is the foremost pursuit. The American University.
What we do in gender studies is not just reduce gender to what psychologists might call individual differences, but rather thinking about gender. That's not women and man, but gender as a social form, something that kind of infuses itself into virtually all aspects of social life.
Let's talk about that then. I guess we should start with, we've got gender and sex, right?
Yeah.
What's the difference between the two? Is there a difference?
I saw that in your questions and I thought, my goodness, this is what we spend an entire...
Remember, guys, last time I reacted, I was talking about like the Achilles heels behind the gender ideology. Is there a play on and redefinition of words? One of the things that they have managed to do over time, they have managed to place new interpretation on certain terminologies, and that has become part of their foundation for why they do the things they do. So this concept of sex and gender is where this the reason for transgenderism takes place. This is like the Achilles heel. You have to strike really hard at that one and get them to rethink this, because gender originally had more to do with language. You know, like especially in French, we have the different genders that are attached to particular words to determine whether it is masculine or feminine. But what the transgender ideology has managed to do over time, there's a whole long history that goes behind that. They start to put a difference between sex and gender, and they want you to believe that these two are not exactly the same. And as a result, now we have sex is biology, and then gender is what you identify as or how you feel and stuff like that. So that's kind of the reason why it's become so prevalent, and I think he's going to address that once again in this interview.
Your semester kind of thinking through, but what we tend...
I guess we should start with, we've got gender and sex, right?
Yeah.
What's the difference between the two? Is there a difference?
I saw that in your questions and I thought, my goodness, this is what we spend an entire semester kind of thinking through. But what we tend to think about in the social sciences today is that sex refers to a set of biological characteristics and gender is a social construct or category. What I think is often misleading about that characterization is allowed to be sort of messy and complicated. But in that framing, when you split them up...
You hear that music in the background? That means get ready for the word salad. Get ready for the exposition, the pontificate. It's just going to really leave you confused by the time he's done with you. So brace yourself. Enjoy the song.
A set of biological characteristics, and gender is a social construct or category.
Really?
What I think is often misleading about that characterization is allowed to be sort of messy and complicated. But in that framing, when you split them up into these wholly discrete constructs, studies scholars, and really more specifically people who study gender and sex, we're not talking about sexuality right now, and the kind of academic universe that I travel in is that we see how deeply gendered ideas, cultural ideas about masculinity and femininity, maleness and femaleness, both in humans and in lots of other animals.
So are gender and sex two different things? Or-
Well,
He just told you, Matt Walsh. What's wrong with you? Why would you dare asking him such a question? And by the way, if you happen to be enjoying this type of content, make sure you like and subscribe to the page. Click the bell icon for more of our notification uploads. So now, after he done do all these explaining, Matt Walsh asked the question. So what's the difference with the gender and sex again? Are they two different things? I just love that because he just shows that in all that he said, he really absolutely said nothing. I've heard a statement that goes as follow: I make rapid progress in the art of using many words to say nothing at all. So this was a perfect example of that, listening to these different gibberish. And so much was said and really nothing was said.
how deeply gendered ideas, cultural ideas about masculinity and femininity, maleness and femaleness, both in humans and in lots of other animals.
So are gender and sex two different things? Or?
Well, I think that they both are and they aren't. I'm comfortable saying
They both are and they aren't. So which one is it? They both are and they aren't. I'm a little confused right now.
that gender and sex are two different constructs, but they're deeply intertwined with each other.
We're talking about gender and sex, and there's a lot of controversies there. If we're talking about a trans woman has all of the male physical characteristics, so would that not be a male then? Couldn't we plainly say this person is a male?
Well, I guess it's like, why are you asking the question? I think.
There we go. Here comes the sensitivity moment again. Oh, easily offended. Why are you asking the question, boy? Well, this is an interview. This is what happens during an interview. We ask smooth, easy, tough questions, some type of benign questions. That's kind of what an interviewer will do, place you in a position where you have to get the truth out of your heart and bring it out and defend what you believe. So I'm not necessarily understand the nature of this question. Why are you asking the question? Well, this is exactly what he came to do.
I want to understand sort of why that's so important. So if someone tells
Just
you...
to sort of understand reality,
Well, I mean, I think when someone tells you who they are, you should believe them. So if a person says that they're a woman or they're a man, then that's them telling you their gender is. I'm not so sure what social interactions would...
Someone tell you who they are, you should believe them. But what if they're telling you a lie? What if they believe a lie?
Have to do with maleness or femaleness that would be...
I'm not even talking about social context. I'm just trying to start by getting to the truth,
Yeah, I mean, I'm really uncomfortable with that language of like getting to the truth. Again, in social life.
Why is that uncomfortable?
Because it sounds actually deeply transphobic to me. And if you keep probing, we're gonna stop the interview.
What is so transphobic about trying to figure out the truth behind the ideology that you promote as a professor? What is so transphobic about that? I just don't understand this attitude. This makes no sense whatsoever. Everything is transphobic. If it's difficult, if it's challenging, if it hurts their feeling in any way, it's transphobic. I know this is not true for all trans people, but these individuals here, they got problems, man.
Probe about what the truth is?
You keep invoking the word truth, which is condescending and rude. I'm saying to you...
How is the word truth condescending and rude?
Good question. How is the word truth condescending and rude? Why? What is it that truth is doing to a person that makes them so upset? I remember in the Bible there was a man who asked Jesus, Pilate asked Jesus, what is truth, right? And before Jesus had a chance to answer, he walked away. And I think we live in a time today where people would rather be told a lie than to be told the truth, because sometimes the truth stares at you in the face and it makes you uncomfortable. I was talking to a friend that I work with, and one of the things that I was sharing was a little bit about dieting and how important it is to take care of your health and things like that. And she said, don't tell me anymore. I don't want to know what the truth is, because if I hear it, I'm gonna be held accountable to it. And she really meant that. And I thought to myself, like, what you don't realize, although I didn't say it like that, what you don't realize, by not getting to know what the truth is, you still ended up becoming accountable to it anyway. So it's not just what you know that you get in trouble for, but what you should have known will also get you in trouble with God. So I'm like, so if the truth comes to you, no matter how difficult it is, we have to open up our hearts and digest it.
Why don't you tell me what your truth is? And you're walking on 30 seconds more of thin ice before I get up.
Oh, look at the attitude has changed completely. His attitude has changed. He went from being happy-go-lucky, cheery, and very comfortable at first. And as soon as the questions got difficult, his attitude has changed. Now he is giving him a probation. You have 30 seconds. Or I'm going to walk out of here. I am done with you. You're probing. You're asking too many questions, and you're not accepting everything I'm saying as facts. So therefore, you're on the time limit now. Wow.
What my truth is? Well, I don't think I really have a truth. I think that there's just the truth, like the reality. And so we should begin by trying to figure out what the reality is.
And why are you concerned with when someone else tells you that they're a man, or even if they use the word male, why are you concerned with not believing them?
Well, you keep bringing it back to, how do you respond in a social situation?
That's what I do. I'm a social scientist.
Well, right, but we're in a university. This is a place of understanding truth, isn't it? Or
absolutely, we
But the
pursue
truth-
truth, and I'm a social scientist, and that's what I do.
you just said the truth is transphobic.
That you would say that if you're saying the truth is that I get to say you're not a man, show me your genitalia, that's transphobic.
No, I don't want to see anybody's genitalia. I just mean someone can make a statement about themselves that could be untrue. Like, for example, if I were to say that I'm a black man, would you accept that, or would you be skeptical?
Are you black? Are you African American? Are you biracial?
Yo, he said, oh, you. Possibly. He's just a black, white-looking man.
Sure.
I don't think so.
You don't look that, and I don't think it doesn't sound like that's a genuine statement of who you are.
Well, you see how extreme that is, and guess what? It is becoming a reality now. And I did some research where there is what is it called today? Transracialism or something like that. Racial adoption. It's a new concept. It is becoming more popular by the day. I've even had a video that I had to do on this, and what's happening is that a lot of individuals are beginning to identify different races and stuff too, and it's not as popular as the transgender movement is, but it's becoming a thing. So yeah, I think there was this white guy who he's now identified as Asian. There was a white lady who identified as black and things like that. So people are gonna come to a point where just anything goes. It's just that we have to know that there is a slippery slope to this ideology as well, that who's going to put an end to this thing?
You are.
Okay, so that's my point. I could make a statement about who I am that's incorrect.
Of course, I think it's well established that human beings can lie, yes.
Okay.
Or not even lie. I mean, I could just be mistaken.
Yeah.
Uh,
Sure what you're doing.
I guess this all comes back, it all comes down to really one question. Especially women, gender and sexuality studies.
There goes the big question now.
So what is a woman?
Why do you ask that question?
He said, "What do you like?"
I just really like to know.
He said, "Why do you like?"
What do you think the answer to that question is?
Well, he's asking you.
Well, I'm asking. That's why I came to a college professor who's this is what you do.
Love it.
What other kinds of answers have you gotten?
You see, he's playing with words right here. This is actually very immature and very irresponsible of him to do that. The thing is, they ask you a single question. Why aren't you answering, running around left and right and hiding from being honest about answering a simple question that the men ask you? It's a difficult one. It's a challenging one, but it needs to be answered, though.
A lot of like this, where you're not answering, and I've gotten a lot of that. So
I think it's interesting that you say that some of the people you've interviewed have been reluctant to answer it, and I think that has a lot to do with the questions that preceded it and the way that you've conducted yourself in the interview.
how have I conducted myself?
How do you think you've conducted yourself?
He's funny.
You just really don't want to answer the questions, do you?
I came today very willing and enthusiastic about answering questions about women and gender sexuality studies, which is
So
the
you
work that I
wanted
do.
you wanted to answer questions about women's studies, and so shouldn't the first answer you should be able to provide is what exactly is a woman?
Well, for me, it's actually a really simple answer, and that's a person who identifies as a woman.
But what are they identifying as?
As a woman.
But what is that?
As a woman.
Do you know what a circular definition is?
I do.
Wow.
It's sort of like what you're doing right now, where a woman is a woman.
Well, because you're seeking what we would call in my field of work an essentialist definition of gender. I think it sounds like you would like me to give you a set of biological or cultural characteristics that are associated with one gender or the other.
I'm not seeking any type of definition. I'm just seeking a definition.
Yeah, and I gave you one.
Well, now I can say I've been to college. I'm glad I didn't pay for it. Is there anyone willing to give me a straight answer?
Yeah, I'm also glad you didn't pay for that one either, man. This goes to show there is there's a serious problem with our educational system. I'm not saying this is true for all colleges, but I'm saying from a general perspective, and what is coming out from the schools is really, really bad. And also, what I notice is just the level of easily offended, the level of sensitivity we get here from many of these individuals who do not like difficult questions being asked. It shows there's so much weakness in it's just their ideology just don't necessarily have any solid foundation to stand upon. He has no solid ground. But I also want to commend Matt Walsh's behavior here for staking to the truth, just getting at the heart, just kind of rooting and chopping down the concept that are wrongs, that are just wrong. And he's just dealing with it heads on. I appreciate the way he does that, holding back his emotion and behavior, just going at it headstrong. That was well done. Very smart, very intelligent as well. Yeah, I can't, it's just that it's a sad thing to watch, though. It's a sad thing to watch. It makes you wonder, when did we go off? When did we go wrong in our thinking and lividity? But one thing I want to share is what the Bible speaks about in the book of Isaiah. In Isaiah 59, one thing I hear in this conversation is how the truth has been so compromised. And the thing about truth is it is not subjective, it is objective, and God is the author of it. Now look at this. Verse 14. It says, "Judgment is turned away backward. Justice standeth afar off. Truth is fallen in the streets, and iniquity cannot enter. Yea, truth faileth." Look at this. "He that departeth from evil maketh himself a prey, and the Lord saw it, and it displeased him that there was no judgment." So much is being said here, but one thing is particular is that truth is under attack in our culture. If there is one thing that the devil is attacking in many schools, in the hearts of many people, is the truth. Truth from the Word of God, truth about humanity, basic truth we once believed has now been compromised, twisted, and tangled up. And today, if you dare to go against it, you become a prey. You get name calls, transphobic, and all type of other stuff. But we don't have to be afraid. One thing is certain. In the words of John Wycliffe, I believe that in the end, the truth will conquer. And that's where I take my stand. If you like this reaction video, make sure you like and subscribe, and we're going to continue. We're going to continue to go into these interviews. We're going to dive into them even more. It only going to get better from this point forward. Let me know what you think. Let's talk below. Let me know what your perspective is, and also put your recommendation in comments below. Check out our links below if you want to support and like this channel. Becoming a member of the Luke and Live YouTube channel if you like what we got going on here. God bless you. Until next time, remember to look unto Jesus and to live by faith. Have a good one. Bye.